5 seconds. Cue titles on 3. Cue music.
Hello, welcome to episode number 8, which will be the last episode for a while because I have to concentrate on the HOLMFIRTH art exhibition. No, not the HOLMFIRTH art exhibition, ladies and gentlemen, the HOLMFIRTH Arts Festival. The HOLMFIRTH art exhibition is a completely different story, something I started many years ago. Anyway, hello, good evening, welcome. Hello to Monty out there, resting after concreting for a long time, possibly, I don't know. In the rain, maybe not. Hello to Meg over there on YouTube. And guten Abend in Bavaria, in Bayern. And bonsoir en France, if we're watching there, and whatever they say in Spain. I don't know what they say in Spain. What do they say? Buenas noches? I mean, that comes from all the cowboy films and things like that. I don't know at all. Tonight, we're going to be looking at thickness. Heute Abend es dicker, stärker, possibly, I don't know. En français, ce soir, c'est l'épaisseur. Because though we're drawing on a flat surface, a piece of paper, reaches down, gets a piece of paper which has got very little thickness. The things we're drawing have a thickness. So we're going, and people don't always think about that. Edges, thickness. Today we're going to be drawing this evening. Well, I'm going to be drawing. I hope you are too. I hope you'll join in. I hope you'll join in at home. We're going to be doing a nice little collection of coffee. Now, when I took the photograph, the coffee was just there in the bottom. Jacob's espresso it is, which is very pleasant, very nice. And it now is full. The coffee is full. I can show you that. Or maybe I will try and show you that. I don't know. It might get a bit. Hang on. Yes, I'll try something. Let me just try something. There's this camera because we're going to be going with the orange and thing. Look. Whoa! There we go. Espresso. Yeah. Just show. Oh, hello. Knock me biscuit there. Just to show that we are going for the real thing tonight. Before we get going, a sad piece of news I got this week. We all got Sir Ken Robinson, an educationalist, inspirationalist, and brilliant public speaker, died this week of cancer. If you haven't heard his talks, go on YouTube and search for Ken Robinson. He talks about education. He talks about children. He says about creativity, if you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original. And this is what I say about when we're drawing. I don't use the words wrong because I don't find that moves things on. I say if it's not working, keep going at it. And if it continues not to work, move it aside, get another one, do it again. Jim Dine, whose drawings we saw a few weeks ago, famously said, he doesn't matter if the drawing isn't working, is going wrong, because that means if he does it again, he can do it better. So he does drawings over and over and over again. So God bless you there, Sir Ken Robinson. So what we're going to do is look at this little arrangement of coffee cups. Now, this really is a time for the old Oscar Grillo blue and orange business that's going on. Hannah Jewell has joined us. Hello Hannah, out there. Coffee boy. Hannah is a barista. She knows all about this. In case you missed it earlier on, Hannah. Hang on a minute. Look, I've just made this. I made this. Here's what I did earlier. It's not bad, is it? It's got a biscuit though, Hannah. Last time you made me a coffee, it didn't have a biscuit. God, blimey, governor. Anyway, hope you're well, Hannah. And I think, hang on, no, just a minute, let's have a look. Anybody else? Maybe Marianne in Norway, possibly. Maybe Rachel Wise, who was in India, maybe in London, could be anywhere, to be honest. And Amanda in France, maybe, I don't know. Leave a comment, say hi, and we will get on. We'll get on with the drawing. That's what we're here for, to do a bit of drawing. We can talk about Raphael later, obviously. So, what do we do first? Actually, I've forgotten what happens. What happens? We get Ian Sanderson's wonderful music playing. We cut to the camera. I look at what I'm doing, and then I just pop that on so you get an idea of what's happening. And off we go. It's as if we're doing a race. It's not a race, is it? See, I put it on a board. It's about what you're seeing there in the top left-hand corner. It's something like, you can't see anything happening at the moment. Very, 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 very light, which is great. And if that's the board, I don't know if it is yet, because no, it's even lower than that. It's there. So this is why we do things like this. We've got a coffee cup which actually comes way above the board. Now, one of the reasons why I'm going with Helena, if you were watching, Helena and Jim, if you were watching, this could be, well, it's coffee though, isn't it? Not tea. I could have drawn a teacup. No, the reason why we're going particularly with the old orange and blue setup is because, oh gosh, that's even higher. Oh, I'm well out here. And we're not going to get the whole jug on. We might have to go up here, behind the picture. We are, in fact. And there's another biscuit in here. So I tend to, I can come down a bit, I suppose. Before you start, you've got to block it, particularly with big circles and things. Now, don't forget we're going to come to thickness later on. And we've got a handle going on there. And what you've got to look at is points where one shape, the handle, intersects with another shape, the saucer. Where does the, well, we're miles off here. We've got the teaspoon coming out here. The teaspoon doesn't go over the edge of the saucer. They've got to look like circles, even though they're not as we look at them. We've got a bit of a teaspoon happening there, a bit of a teaspoon happening there, a bit of a map there, a bit of a... I might... Well, but look, you see, I don't know. Maybe I should... This may be... We've got... I'm going to go up above here, just so that we can put the top of the jug in. And I will carry on drawing here, because this is where it's happening. And we've got a handle coming out here. And we've got the top of the jug happening over here. So, and we're going to put this other chocolate biscuit in there. So, what I was talking about thickness was the thickness of this edge of this cup. So if we come round here, most of you will try and draw that line round there, when actually this line comes down and forms the edge of the cup. This line comes down and there's a handle which is going on here, which just comes towards the edge. Depends where my head is whether or not it goes over. It goes right to the bottom there. And then you've got a thickness, you've got an interior line, and that line goes round. So now we've got this, and we can just put a little bit of, so that gives us the thickness of the cup. And then we've got the coffee, which is happening in there. So that's what I was talking about. Normally when you're drawing, you tend to sort of make a circle here and you then put the edges there. But actually if you make that line go out and down and this line go out and down and then draw the inner one, it'll give it the thickness. It'll make it so that it looks like there's the shape of the cup has got some thickness about it. And that really goes for anything which is not a solid. It's a whatever you want to call it. I don't know, there's a special term in mathematics, I'm sure, for it, like a donut or something. But anything that's a cylinder or hollow, to give it its shape, go around the outside first and then go around the inside. Same with a tin can. Look, here we go. Let's just do one of my quick drawings. A tin can, the opening is there. The outside goes there and then down there and then down there and like that. Okay, and then you can give it an edge like that. You can give it an inside like that. That will make it immediately look more solid. Obviously, if you do this, it doesn't look as solid. I think you'll agree. That looks like a glass. You draw a glass like that, because the glass maybe doesn't have that thickness. So that's what the whole thickness is today. So let's carry on and do a little bit more of this coffee. We've got the handle. The handle comes out, and then the rest of the handle, so that's in the shadow. And that comes across there. And then there's a very, very dark bit. And that bit of the handle is in shadow, and now the edge is in light. And just under there, now obviously we've got a little bit of darkness happening here. Now I'm making this quite, I'm making it quite a deliberate line for an edge. That is a line. This one doesn't necessarily, you can sometimes get away with using cross-hatching and what have you for that. This is the coffee. So we've got the darkness here, the coffee. We'll use a bigger pen for the espresso, and then that comes in a shape. My wonderful daughter Hannah came up with all sorts of fantastic ways of getting this to become a heart shape on the top of the espresso, but unfortunately it wouldn't last. So you can think about the amount of light and shade on the top of the espresso, but basically it's there like that. And then we come into the saucer. They're sort of very similar, it behaves in a very similar way. This is coming round. We've got a highlight on the top of the saucer, so we can bring that like that. We've got a spoon here which is throwing shadows and goodness knows what else. Shiny metal is very weird to do because it reflects stuff in a strange and alien way, but it still has an edge to it. And then we've got a chocolate biscuit, ladies and gentlemen. How good is that? A chocolate biscuit brought by Will and Joe Cove. Will and Joe and Florence and Mia have come back from over a year, 13, 14 months travelling around Europe. First few months were great, and then the virus hit and they ended up on a beach in Morocco. I mean, perhaps there are worse places to be, but they were in a camper van with a trailer. Anyway, they came back on Thursday night, I think, and they brought us a box of biscuits, because all in the roof of our house we'd stored all their all their boxes of stuff. So thank you very much for the biscuit, Joe and Will, which was what we're drawing now. Let's go back to drawing that a little bit. Again, I mean, a biscuit, I mean, this is great. I deliberated a lot about what biscuits to have. And I thought, I've got so many round things going on here. Let's have some square, there were round biscuits. Let's have some square biscuits. So we've got a biscuit there. And then we've got the front of the cup of the saucer, I beg your pardon. Coming around here, we've got a distinct dark shadow under there, which sort of starts to define the front edge of this saucer. Where the cup hits the saucer, again, a lot of darkness there. Underneath the spoon, which is very badly drawn at the moment, there's a lot of darkness there, and coming in from the edge of the saucer there. Now, that's got the basic bits of the. I'm fading out. Last week I wasn't fading out the music. I was cutting it sharp, and I noticed it wasn't particularly good. We've started to get the shape of this in the mug, the other biscuit, and everything like that. I thought I would show you some drawings. Coffee is great, because normally what I'd be doing, and I might do it this time, is you dip your finger in the coffee and you use that as part of the shading, giving it form, and it gives it that extra colour, and it's a great colour. And I used to sit in cafes and draw out of my head and use the coffee to create the extra dimension to it. These are all existential, weird sort of drawings that I used to do using coffee. And it's not a new thing. Coffee's used quite often in drawings and things. Now, why is a drawing a good drawing, why is it so powerful? Before we had film, you go and see films nowadays, they make white knuckle films, don't they? They make horror films that make you go, ah! And, you're sitting in a dark room, okay, it's sort of people have said it's very much like sitting in the dark hundreds of years ago, tens of thousands of years ago, in the dark, round a fire, people telling stories. You've got a flickering image, the film, and blackness all around us. Even though we're sitting with friends, we can still be scared. We know we're in the cinema, but we're still scared. And action adventure films, you know, when even though you know the hero's not going to die, you're sort of like this, and you watch it again, and you watch it again, and you're still the same. So images are really, really, really powerful, important to us. And it's not just recently. You go back 400 years to the Renaissance, and people like Raphael were mixing colours, bright colours, which no one had seen before. You have to understand that in those times, everything was basically brown or grey. Blue hadn't even kicked in yet. They hadn't got indigo from India. This is in Western Europe. Indigo hadn't kicked in yet. Indigo finally came in from the east on the Silk Route, came into Germany initially. And the way to stabilise the indigo dye was to use urine, to pee on it. And so all the people in the dye works used to drink and drink and drink on a Sunday night so they could have lots of very powerful urine on a Monday morning to help with the dye process, but it also gave them a hangover, which is why we have the term Blauer Montag, Blue Monday. Not the band, but anyway. What was I talking about? Red. So everything was brown, grey, maybe the occasional blue. Purple was coming in for the very, very rich people. It was a very expensive dye, so only the top people had it. White, I mean, you couldn't keep anything white. I mean, sometimes you made linen from flax and things, but it very, very quickly became brown and dirty and grey. And suddenly, and there's Raphael mixing up all these pigments and making this vivid red. And he paints a painting of the some either Christ rising or some angels or the Madonna or something like this. Huge, life-size, massive, bigger than life-size probably, painting. To go in a church. Now, you've been in churches, I'm sure. They have windows, they have stained glass windows, but they're not the brightest of places, are they? They're not like greenhouses, so they're quite dark. And he places this picture somewhere where at the time of the service, the sun is going to come round through a window onto the picture of this red. The only red people have seen has been blood. If you hurt yourself, if you cut yourself, red comes out. So it's quite a colour. So everybody's sitting there in the congregation, it's dark, they're singing, they're chanting, they're doing all these songs, so their breathing is being regulated, so the blood is not getting to the head as it should, the oxygen's not getting in, all this, they're getting into some state. The sun comes round, hits Raphael's painting. They've never seen anything like it before. They are transported in some massive religious, mystical reverie. And you might poo-poo that and think, whoa, yeah, that wouldn't happen. But it does happen in cinemas. But you say, no, but that's three-dimensional. That's filming, that's moving. We associate ourselves with these people on the screen. We become affected by that. And I would ask you one thing. Put a picture of some kittens on your door and throw darts at them. Throw a dart into the kitten's eye. It's just a piece of paper. Turn it over, it's not a kitten. But it's a kitten, and it's difficult. And they did this, they've done experiments with this. They've done experiments on a lot of things. They did experiments, they talked about art and people going, yeah. And they said, all right, here are 3 darts. Kittens on a dartboard, throw the dart. And half the people couldn't do it. So that's why art is, A, very, very important. Thank you, Sir Ken. And B, really does get to us when it works. And it's very, very individual. Raphael went for the populist art, the bright red, the sunlight, just like Steven Spielberg, just like George Lucas, just like, all the big Hollywood films, Michael Bay, all these people. And other people are slightly more subtle, they cater for different elements. But it's all very, very real to us, all very, very real to us. But In the meantime, this isn't going to upset you too much. I will get back to the old coffee. So we're coming around the corner there. We've got the spoon handle coming out here. It isn't actually like that. It's like that. And then it shoots off out. There's always a little bit of dark there, so we're going to put a light before it goes dark. So we're going to put that in there. Then we're going to put some darkness over that side, strangely enough. And we're going to put overall a lighter cross-hatching over the whole lot and miss a bit out in the middle as if it's a sort of highlight. So there's the handle of the spoon. Here's the main bit of the spoon. Very bright bit happening here. Here's the inside of the cup, which has got a degree of shadow going on there. We've got coffee happening here. Now, I don't know if Greg's watching. Guten Abend, Rita. I notice Rita is watching in Bavaria. Guten Abend. Heute Abend Rita ist der Dicke, der Stärker. The Stärker. The Stärker, the Dicker. Good. Have a nice coffee. I'm not drinking it, Rita. Nicht trinken the Kaffee. Yeah, never mind. Raphael and coffee. Yes, absolutely. Oh, we've lost everything on. Ravi, hello, Ravi. Ravi, you don't drink coffee, do you? Missing out. How's it going? Ravi, great friend and colleague for 10 years at Kirklees College while we taught media studies, now driving ambulances. Fantastic. Joe with Florence and Mia. I hope, Florence and Mia, I hope you're drawing this. What I'm going to say now, yes, now, this is what I've thought of last week. Do a screen grab at this point. I'm going to put that full size one up because some people want to draw and they can't necessarily draw from the size of that. So what I shall do now is put the full size one up, take a screenshot. If you're on a Mac, it's Command-Shift-4, go across, take a photograph of it, put it somewhere else on the screen, and you can draw life size from that. Hope you got all that, Rita. So here's the big one. So you take a screenshot of that now. And good, Tim and Lisa, hello. We've got a nice setup for you this evening. Take a shot of this, do a drawing, send me the drawings afterwards, and I shall mark them out of 10. No, I hope you've all got that. I won't mark them out of 10, of course not. They'll all be wonderful. Tim and Lisa, great that you're in. And it's the last one. But you've been here for them all. It means a lot. It's really good. Let's go back and do a little bit more biscuit action. Now, it's not a straight edge there. I was naughty because it's not a straight edge at all, is it? But we've got this sort of drippy chocolate happening here. And this is very like the chocolate on last week's meal feuille. For those of you who've been paying attention. Oh no, they all connect up. Oh, that one connects up with that one. You have to forgive me, I've got it. I haven't got it working. There's another one which comes across there. I haven't been practicing my icing. And there's a big dollop down there. Oh, I missed one. Oh my goodness. Well, this is going ridiculously wrong. I've missed one. Got one there. Anyway, you get the idea. Maybe I've got end of term fever. Maybe I'm just thinking it's all about to end, which is a shame. But Have got to work on the arts festival. I've got to change all my settings and just have it so that it's the arts festival. And we'll be broadcasting from here on the 18th, 19th 20th of September. All the people that were supposed to be in the arts festival that got cancelled due to the virus have made films for us. So I shall be presenting, well, I won't be presenting. Nick Ahad from Radio Leeds, BBC Radio Leeds, will be presenting it here from the studio. At the bottom of the jug that's happening there. And actually, when you're measuring across, the actual, yeah, that's happening about there. And there's a bright bit behind, so that comes in there. I imagine, Tim, you finished the, Millennium Falcon now. Tim's been making a life-size version of the Millennium Falcon in Lego, which is a vast undertaking. I imagine that's finished now. But now you can do some drawing, Tim. Draw the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, that's what we need to do. Now, of course, I'm going to move this now. You didn't see where I was going because we've got the great to have Joe back, Joe and Will and Florence and Mia, I know, back in the country after such a long trip away. Handles complicated businesses because they change. You know, we go from the inside here, we go from the outside to the inside. So that's the outside, that's the inside. Tricky things there, tricky things. Now, again, we'll come up and we'll go around the outside of this. And then we'll bring this line here to give us that sense of thickness. Now we go into a jug here, which is actually, I'm going to put that in. I can just see that happening there. And we've got something happening there. It's quite complicated. I'm rushing this. I don't know why I'm rushing it. I'm rushing it because we're coming out of time and I've got to show you what's on all the shelves. That is nowhere near. This should be much bigger for the jug that it is, as you can see on the photograph. But it's sort of getting there. It's not ideal. I have to say, these drawings I do are not like my normal drawings. Normally I would take, as I say, 2 or 3 hours to do this. Do it very carefully, find all those points, get the general shape in with the orange and then the blue, and then find the points and the relationship between the points. So I've got the relationship between the edge of the teaspoon and the edge of the saucer, the saucer going behind the edge of the mug, that coming over the other end, the mug coming over the spoon coming over the saucer, the handle protruding over the edge of the saucer there, the biscuit coming over the edge there and over there. And I would spend a long time plotting these like Uglo, like I showed you with Uglo. I'd usually spend much longer doing this sort of plotting, planning. You know, you can just draw. I mean, when I did the coffee drawings here, I mean, this was just bum. I had a thick pen, and I was looking at my espresso cup in the cafe, and I just sort of drew it down. Here took a little bit longer plotting things out, half and half and half to get things working. There, really just looking at textures and shapes and things like that. So I look at some of these drawings I do and think, oh gosh, that's not how I would like to do it. They look a bit too sketchy, dare I say. Now, let's just have a little break from the music and consider I can do that. The shelves here behind me. People have been saying, what's on the shelves? What's on the shelves? So I can show you what's on the shelves. Here is the here are the shelves, and we can quickly go through. I think there we've got a strange mixture of old Kodachrome daylight film in rolls, and the next one we have some legacy magic markers when they used to be in little glass bottles, which are absolutely delicious. They're now in plastic ones, a bit of ink and some rubber bands. Lee filters, if you want to get a filter. I don't use them. Joe, if you're watching in France, you'll use them a lot more than I will. The batteries for the big camera, the batteries for the little camera, for the Nikon on shelves. The glue haul, bit of glue for everything that you can think of. Yoo-hoo and Prit and Gorilla Glue, I haven't used that yet. The second bit of glue with some sellotape. The legacy film section, I've actually still got some black and white film there. Good grief, 35mm film, 36 exposures. The story dice are in one bit. A cow, which I use to illustrate things far away and things close together, just exactly as they used to do on Father Ted. A maquette I made for a big time machine I built for a live and kicking theatre. Big felt pens, hazard tape, never know when you might need hazard tape. A very early last century multimeter, tests batteries and things. Some old Letraset colour markers, the children like using those. New magic markers, it's good to have some in for greys and blues and things. A whole mix of markers there. Leads and rubbers, so on the right a stack of leads for propelling pencils and rubbers and things going on there. Board markers. At college I eventually bought my own board markers, fed up with the state of the markers they provided. Ninon, if you're watching, you bought me this Macédoine de Légumes. I was doing a talk. I worked in Kosovo for a number of years, a number of summers over in Kosovo. I started off going out there, made a documentary about the orphans from the Civil War, got involved in an arts project and went back 3 times in the summers to run the arts project. And we took English students out there to help run this arts project. And they all said they wanted to know a little bit more about the Balkans, about Kosovo, about the history. Incredibly complicated, the history of the Balkans. I mean, it really is. It was the one strip which separated the West from the East. The Silk Route came through there. That 3 religions, Eastern Orthodox, Western Orthodox, and Muslim. And Macedonia, part of the Balkans, they called the chopped up vegetables Macédoine de Légumes because Macedonia was chopped up so many times. The Balkans were chopped up so many times, different borders all over the place. The French decided to call their vegetables Macedonian vegetables. There you go. Raphael, coffee and chopped up vegetables, Hannah. How about that? Battery haul, more batteries. This is possibly getting very tedious. We're coming to the end now, coming down there. The recycled batteries and possibly last, all the Duff batteries. So there you go, back quickly through so we can see the shelves, the Macédoine vegetable, the marker pens, the multimeter, the tapes. And this was from the Really Wild show, as I said. This was a box. Now we've got a robe on there. A box that we made by Kimpton Walkers in London for a game on the Really Wild show. Nearly there. I should have put this image up. There we go. Should still have the microphone. I hope so. There are all the shelves. There you go. Answers your questions, I hope. Greg, hello Greg. I hope you got the furniture descriptions there. Tim says he hasn't finished the Millennium Falcon yet. Slacking is all I can say, Tim. Slacking. So Adrian Ray says, why? Maybe he meant to say hi, or Adrian's puzzled about something. Elucidate, Adrian. Tell me what's your problem. In the meantime, let's get back to a bit of music. That should start. Yep. And we'll get the camera up on the split camera, and I hope if you've got your you see, that's too far over that way. It has to go back that way. It's possibly something to do with the curve in the page. Ever since I spent about 5 minutes drawing while you were watching the top of my head, I keep checking the shot to make sure we're in there. We've got a chocolate biscuit here. Very nice chocolate biscuit from Joe and Will. Nearly all gone already, Joe. And that's actually all. It's not dark chocolate, it's milk chocolate, but it's darker than the surroundings, so we can put that in. This side of the mug is all darker as well. And then there's a shadow coming up here of the handle and then the cup. And then these are dark here, this is dark. There's a lot of that. Notice, I often talk about it. I said, I go, we've got to put some of the dark in. You're looking constantly at light and shade to try and describe the form. So we've got all the coffee here on the surface. The edge of the coffee produces a beautiful meniscus curve. You don't learn much at school, but meniscus curves always got me at school. I loved the idea of a meniscus curve. Do we all know what a meniscus curve is? A meniscus curve, that's when you have a glass and when the water in a glass doesn't just go around, it goes up at the side. So if you were drawing it in a section, the water would climb up the side of the, oh hello, you can't see that, sorry, I'll do it again. So if you've got a glass in cross section, the water climbs up the edge of the glass. And that is the meniscus. I don't know how you pronounce it. And it does things. We used to have lycopodium powder. Lycopodium powder. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to show you. I've been doing some drawings for Monty. So drawing, I do it all the time. Doing drawings which help describe things. Monty's building a woodshed. So drawing. And my advice to you, if you like drawing, is draw it. Drawing, sadly, is not like riding a bicycle. When you learn to ride a bicycle at the age of 5, 6, 7, and you're tearing up and down on it till the age of 10, 11, 12, and then you become a teenager and bicycles aren't necessarily that cool, so you don't ride your bicycle for 10 years, and then you realise you did like it or you need it for commuting, you get straight back on the bicycle and you can ride the bicycle. You don't fall off. Once you've learned to ride a bicycle, it's somehow there, which is wonderful. Drawing is not like that. Drawing, you've got to keep drawing, to keep seeing. Remember, we talked a lot about learning how to see and not recognise. If you stop it, after 2 or 3 years, you go back and you've forgotten how to look and see things. Sometimes if you have a break of maybe 3 or 4 weeks, it helps because you still remember the bit about the drawing. These shelves I've just shown you, all those shelves, 25 pictures. I debated whether to do that because it could be a bit tedious, it could be boring, couldn't it really? Not everyone wants to know what's in the shelves. I've got a few people who said, I haven't done all the shelves because that would have been very boring. But it was an interesting exercise because I had to upload, if you like, into this program, OSB, Streamlabs OSB, 25 photographs. And it's quite complicated. You've got to identify the photograph, you've got to call it an image within the software, you've got to give it a title, you've got to reposition it, you've got to open it, all these sorts of things, and each one for 25. And I remembered techno fear, which Eddie Izzard talked about. And I think it's a generational thing. I don't think the younger generation has the same fear of technology. And I think it was drummed into people my age because in those days things were much more mechanical. There were mechanical devices. Telephones had mechanical switching devices which went from one contact to another contact mechanically. And indeed it was my father who started the whole idea of electronic switching. So it was just electronics that switched, there was no mechanical, there was no moving part, which is how a computer is. But when I was growing up, my mother was constantly telling me to stop using something. Don't switch the TV over all the time. You'll wear it out. And in those days, it was a switch. So there was a contact here and a contact here, and it came into contact and out of contact. And you could, I suppose, wear it out. The telephone, when you dialed it, there were mechanical contacts. You could wear them out. But now everything is electronic. I dropped my pen during that, so excuse me 1 minute while I pick it up. All gone. And I'm back in the room. Why? Yes. Okay, Adrian, thank you. You've answered the question. Why? I'm wondering why you've kept all the film. No, just one roll. Adrian, I've kept it for no other reason than it's just been there and I haven't thrown it away. I know I've still got a film camera in the attic. I've still got my old original Nikon 35mm film camera. Haven't taken it out for years. I could put it in, but that's what, yeah, Monty, yes, Monty probably keeps lots of it. My sister remembers that idea. Yes, Liz, wasn't it? Do you remember? I mean, when I started working in television, I was a researcher for a live show, and you basically had to find people to come on the show. And you would research this, you would ring up lots of people. And I used to ring somebody up and go, hello, yeah, and then put the phone down. And then think, well, I can't ring anyone for a while now. I've just made a phone call, so I better not make another one. But there were other people in the office, like Harriet and Andy, who all they did was they put the finger on the telephone hook. They still had, they said, right, thank you very much, goodbye, click. Didn't let go of the receiver and started and punch dialing again. And I was like, my God, they make one phone call after another. And I still had to put the phone down and wait because my mother would tell me off if you made 2 phone calls in the evening. Good grief. Yes, Liz, it was like that, wasn't it? What else have we got here? Hannah, thank you. Raphael, we're getting better, Raphael. Getting better, Hannah. Raphael, coffee and chopped veg. All we need now is a bit of a hedge, some shrubs in there, and we'll be away. Floyd might be watching. Why aren't you saying hello, Floyd, in the comments? Floyd Ballantyne. Oh, amazing, wonderfully lively man. Worked with him in France all those years ago. Right, let's see what we can do here. I think we're possibly coming towards the end of this. We've got to get a bit of the shadow here. It'll help make this edge. It actually comes out wider. And that shadow joins up there because we've got the shadow of the biscuit over there. Bit of a shadow there. Quite a bit happening there. And just up that edge. And in there. That edge with that shadow there, and then there's that shadow growing up there. And I will just go over this front edge with a heavier line and this front edge to try and bring that forward. Take the shadow up under there. Give this a little bit of depth there. You see, you don't have to finish things down there. We've got the edge of the board happening there. Got the edge of the board coming down there. The edge of the board, that's not bad actually. The edge of the board does come through that handle about there. The top of that is not right at all. Though the photograph you're looking at is higher up. I'm looking at it at a lower angle. There we go. I think that is pretty well what we've got there, ish. I don't know. As I say, I mean, these aren't drawings. Oh dear. These aren't drawings that I would put in a. I wouldn't frame these drawings and put them on a. Put them in a frame. Put them on an exhibition. It's not that sort of thing. Hi, Joe. Joe, how late are you, Joe? 1 minute ago. Joe, there it is. That's what we've been drawing, Joe. And that's what I've drawn. And I have to say, oh, hang on, not very well. No, listen, I'm just going to do a little bit more. I've noticed this is looking completely, so I'm going to make that the same as the one behind it so that the handle sticks out. Bonsoir, Monsieur Atkins. Joe, we really must work hard once this damned infection is over. We must work hard to get together. Miss you guys. Here we go. We've got the drawings coming in now from the Offspring. Oh, with a heart. Is this yours, Hannah? Hannah's done it beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. The biscuit there, the reflection in the spoon, and the heart on the top. That is, I would say, I have to say, better than mine. Better than mine. And Jacob here has got, Jacob's got another biscuit. Have you eaten that biscuit, Jacob?
I made it myself.
You did it yourself. Jacob set it all up. A different coffee cup?
I named it Crumble.
Right. Anyway, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much there. Adrian, come over and take the portrait. I mean, you can do it at 2 meters, can't you? The studio's 8 meters wide. So if you sit at one end and I sit at the other end, you can do that. You're very welcome. So Joe's going to make a similar setup. Maybe I've got to keep drawing. Or maybe I can have some coffee. It's cold. But now what we've got, which you can't see because the drawing I've got is, the photograph I've got is dark. I've actually got some coffee coming down there now. Now this is all gone to pot because that's not the edge. That's the coffee there. Now this will make more sense.
We want to see what you're drawing.
Pardon? Oh! Thank you. Again, you saw me, not the drawing. I've just been filling this in here because this is the coffee. And that's the edge. With now having drunk some of the coffee, it dropping down. So that does make a bit more sense. You see, it wasn't working. I didn't know why it wasn't working. I've gone a little bit too far, broken into that edge there. And that's when, again, I would use these pens. I would just take out those just to make that top edge a bit clearer. You see there now? So I said it was about thicknesses, this, and this is what it is. We're dealing with this thickness here. We're dealing with the dark coffee and the bubbles. Are you having espresso, Joe? Is Manny making you espresso? And no, the biscuit. I can eat the biscuit now, Ravi. Yes, Ravi, that's absolutely right. In the film industry, in film and TV, if you want to make a piece of paper look dark, you dip it in tea. Also, if you are, we had a chef came in, very posh chef. It wasn't Gordon Ramsay, but it was the equivalent. White chef's outfit. And if you went on camera in the studio with a white chef's outfit, it would just burn out completely. You wouldn't see anything. So what they used to do was dip them in tea. So they would become off-white. The hardest thing, television cameras brighten everything up. The hardest thing is to make something look dirty. And you've got bright lights coming on them, everything's shining. So they got this chef's and he saw it when he had to put it on the next day, and it was all grey, not grey, coffee coloured, sepia coloured. He was like, "What's this?" I said, don't worry, it's just tea, it washes out. And it did wash out of the cotton, but it didn't wash out of the acrylic stitching. So he then had white chef's outfits with dark sepia stitching all over it. It looked awful. And his embroidered name on his vest plate. They had to buy him some new whites for that. So yes, Ravi, they use tea and coffee to make things look old, and also to stop things burning up too white. Who else have we got? I'm just looking at the comments and things. Bellissimo. The biscuit, the coffee's called Bellissimo, I think. Oh, and Daphne's coming from Wales. Excellent, Daphne. Currently enjoying the Pembrokeshire coast, which is being battered by, is it Storm Francis that's currently assaulting our coastline? Beautiful pictures, Daphne, of the Pembrokeshire coast with the waves and crying. I love that. I love that. It's so good to stand, isn't it? I mean, it's nice to be by the sea anyway with the air and everything like that. But when the sea's crashing against the shore, it's fantastic. Really good. So espresso, yep, good. Ethan, watching there as well, possibly. Zhu Wei, hello. Ah! Sorry, I've just hit my chair and gone down. So, Manny and Joe, fantastic. Enjoy your coffee. Send me the drawing. I've still got to send you some drawings, haven't I? Or some paintings. I don't know. I don't know how we do that. I wrap them up in paper and put your address on it. I don't know how we do that. Right. What else have we got? I think that's everybody. No. The biscuit. Oh yeah. Ha 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 ha. I won't do that again. Can't speak now. With the biscuits. Yeah. Yes. Mind you, Manny and Joe, tying these paintings to the top of the car won't be exactly, they're huge, as you know. I do paintings mainly about 6 foot by 4 foot, 1.2 by 2.4. Imperial, metric measurements, meters, 2.4 meters. Manny and Joe got a fantastic farmhouse they've been working on for many years in France, converting it into an old farmhouse and barn. The woodwork is amazing, both the woodwork that was originally there and the woodwork that Joe has subsequently done. So, yeah, bring the trailer. It won't fit on the trailer either, Joe. It's not as good as that. I'm tempted to have another bite of biscuit, but I better not do that. Right, listen, I think we'll just have another look at the drawing and see what we can do. I think that could go down a little bit, couldn't it? I do actually have a script for these things on my right. I wonder if there's anything we haven't used in the script. Nothing yet, it's all there, and that's all pretty good. Okay, well, listen, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to say cheerio. I'm going to say thank you for watching. I'm going to say cheers. Just have the last bit of Côte de Rhône this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We've eaten drunk all the Rioja, Joe. So, yep, ladies and gentlemen, 8 episodes, 8 drawings. It's been great fun. It's been a very steep learning curve. There's been a few mistakes, which is inevitable. But going live is something very special, very different from filming. Making a film, if I was to film this, if I sort of made a mistake, I would sort of think, well, I've got to do it again. When I started working in television, I was working on a program called Number 73, which was a live Saturday morning show. Went on for an hour and a half live on a Saturday morning. An hour and a half's worth of television. If you had to pre-record that, it would take at least a week. And it went out every week, so you couldn't do that, you couldn't afford it. So doing it live meant you could achieve that in the time. You had to accept the mistakes, and there were mistakes that went off. So the people in the show would be working from sort of Wednesday, Thursday in an outside rehearsal room. Researchers, we'd be talking to people quite a few weeks in advance, getting them ready for the show. They would arrive on a Thursday night, ready for a rehearsal, a camera rehearsal all day Friday, then a music sound check. Then everyone would stay in a hotel on the Friday night and come in to do the live show on a Saturday morning for an hour and a half live. And you couldn't go live for an hour and a half. You would play in videos and cartoons and films and things to have a little bit of a break. You could only go about 10 or 15 minutes live, because otherwise you'd just get no one would know what was going on. So the next time, there might be the occasional blip. If you've subscribed to Bike Shed Digital Media on YouTube, which some of you have, you might see signals coming up, reminders coming up saying I'm live. It won't be the drawing, it'll be test runs for the HOLMFIRTH Arts Festival. I'll send out some links when the Arts Festival is going live, because that should be quite fun on the 18th, 19th, 20th of December. In the meantime, I'll say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for watching, and maybe I'll be back in the autumn.